Over the course of the next two videos, I'm going to try to give you a better understanding of handicapping. And now that we have the World Handicap System in place, it's more important than ever to understand about how to do the dots on the scorecard and what personal par means. The great thing about golf is, in the handicap system, is it allows everybody to be on the same level playing field. So for example, if we look at the first line, gross score is what someone actually shoots. So in this case, someone shot a 90 that day, and they're an 18 handicap. So for the most part that day, they actually played pretty much to their potential. So that's actually what the handicap system is. It's kind of like saying, what is your potential to shoot on any given day? So in this case, 90 minus 18, this person shot a 72 net. On the bottom, the better player shot a 73, and their handicap is a 2. So on that day, they actually happen to be the net winner because they shot a 71. But oftentimes what will happen is the higher handicapper on that day will actually play better than the lower handicapper, and they'll win the net trophy. So when the competition is all about the total, and it doesn't really matter hole by hole, then that's where we'll just have the gross scores. We'll usually have the handicap on the scorecard already, and then we just subtract off the total of the gross scores minus the handicapping. That gets us our net. But when we have situations like match play or some of the other competitions like skins, which we're introducing this year, then it becomes about the hole. So that's when we need the dots. Okay, so in this case, there again, the person is an 18 handicap, and we have 18 holes. So that means literally on every single hole, that person gets a dot or a stroke. If somebody's a 36 handicap, then they get 2 strokes per hole. Okay, so where it gets a little trickier is when we have handicaps other than 18 and 36. Because now what we got to do is we got to look at how the holes are ranked at the bottom. So you can see it, and you got to make sure you use where it says ladies handicap holes as opposed to men's, so that's at the bottom. And you got to look at how the holes are ranked by difficulty. So at our golf course, it turns out that the 8th hole is the hardest because that's ranked the #1 most difficult hole on the golf course. Number 13 is the second hardest, and then number 6 is the third hardest. So now if somebody is a 25 handicap, then they get their dot on every single hole, so that's 18, and then the difference between 25 and 18 is 7. So that means they get 7 extra shots. So they'll get 1 dot on every single hole, and then they'll get 7 extra dots. And we have to then look at the bottom and pick the 7 hardest holes by which to give them the extra dot. Okay, so this is the final scorecard. So now Jane has 25 dots. 18 plus those extra 7 on the 7 hardest holes. So now this is also another way of saying that, like say for example on hole number 1, it's a par 4 and she gets 1 stroke. So her personal par isn't really 4, her personal par is 5, because it means statistically if she were to go out and play well on that hole, or to her potential on that hole, she would tend to make a 5. On number 4, she would tend to make a 6. So that 6 becomes her personal par. So it's just like, for example, like let's say I'm the professional and my handicap is 1, then my personal par happens to be just the normal par for the golf course, with the exception of our hardest hole, which is number 8, in which case my personal par, if I was a 1 handicap, wouldn't be a 5, it would actually be a 6. Understanding the dots and what personal par is important for a few reasons. 1, it's just good to have the knowledge as a golfer. 2, it's important because ultimately you as the golfer in a competition are responsible for your own scorecard and any of the mistakes on it. And thirdly, it's imperative to understand personal par because of the changes that have come down with the World Handicap System. If you have any questions on video 1, please feel free to reach out to me. And stay tuned for video 2, where we'll talk about personal par and the World Handicap System.